Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I made a video a couple videos back, or one video back, asking for some help about some booktube ideas and what should I do and what do you like, what don't you like, and it was just amazing. Loads of people replied and used the survey and wrote things in the comments, and it was just amazing, and it's really been helpful and kind of reinvigorating me. And yeah, so someone had asked in the form, can I please do a video talking about what you guys said, and I thought that would be really nice just to kind of share, like, this is what you said, this is the outcome. I feel a bit like I'm doing my staff survey at work, but I really like it. I thought it was a really lovely response, and I didn't expect to have so many people be interested in sort of replying. So yeah, what I thought I'd do is I've broken it down into each of the category of questions, each of the questions I've answered. And some people use like open text box to add things onto some of the questions. I've put those all in one area, which is about what videos you'd like to see me film, because a lot of the comments were around that, just for ease in going through the stats. The other thing that I just wanted to mention very quickly is that I haven't included anyone who is the only person saying that thing. So it doesn't mean I haven't read it. I've read absolutely everything that everyone's written down. But in terms of sharing it, just because I made it anonymous, I didn't want to make anyone feel like they'd only said that thing for me to hear and not for anyone else to hear, so I've only included it if there's like multiple people who are saying the same thing. Okay, so the first question was, what bookish content do you most want to see on my channel? And recommendations videos came out the highest, and I'm really excited for that because there's something I've wanted to film more of, but I'd kind of been like, like, is it interesting? And it was amazing. 20% of people said that was their favourite thing on the channel, which is really cool. So I've got some plans for what I'm going to be filming. I think I'm going to do like a campus books recommendations, so books set in and around university or learning settings, and I have a few others up my sleeve as well, but that's really exciting. I really would like to film those. It's a bit of a challenge for me to like go back through my old books as well, and then it adds in books I've read a while ago, so it sounds perfect, so that's amazing. And then the next one was wrap-ups at 17%, which doesn't surprise me. They normally get the most views out of anything I post. And then discussion videos, which again I kind of thought people weren't that interested in, but 16% of people say you are interested in them, they're your favourite kind of video. Then reviews, so like I guess that means kind of single reviews rather than wrap-ups. Currently reading, and then hauls, and then TBRs and tags. So that is almost like the opposite of what Booktube used to be, and like Booktube used to be, when I joined it like 5 years ago, that tags and hauls were like Booktube gold dust, and it's so interesting to see that for my channel that's flipped the other way around, and the more detailed stuff is what people are interested in, and that just, it makes me really happy, because like I was worried about the fact I wasn't doing these things, that I wasn't enjoying making that much either. Like I find hauls quite awkward because I've just got this huge pile of books, but I can't really say anything other than the fact I don't know much about them because I haven't read them. Though I know that I did know, it's not true anymore apparently, I'm not here, that people really liked them, and I felt a bit bad that I wasn't trying to film them. And then that ties into like, how much money are you spending on books and how many of those books do you actually read? And it just wasn't like accordant with what I've been doing in terms of my reading, and so yeah, it's really good to know that isn't that important to you guys. Foster. So the next question was about non-bookish content, which I've been thinking about a lot more recently. You guys know I've spoken about it before, I'm doing a lot of other stuff in my life at the minute. So like this week, for example, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make another video later. We spent an entire day yesterday heaving stuff to and around in the garden to the tip, and it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but we're getting so close to getting to the point where we want to get to. And so that's kind of like one whole day of my weekend gone, and then in the evenings we've been doing loads of stuff. I've been addicted to playing the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which I used to play when I was little, and I've now 100%ed all 3 games, so I can leave that be and get back to some reading and other stuff. And I've also finished my first module of my qualification and submitted it for feedback, so I should get some notes, just a few bits back to amend or improve my mark, and then that'll be that one done. So I've been doing a lot of stuff. We've only lived here for 3 months and we've redecorated the whole of upstairs and like pulled apart the entire garden, which I think is quite impressive. So non-bookish stuff is what more of my life is right now, and I think probably for the next like year and a half that's going to be the case. So I was just thinking about how to involve you more in it, and I put some ideas down. So the top one that people wanted was house and garden revamp. So sharing the stuff we're doing, which is cool because sometimes I feel a bit bad. I feel a bit like maybe it feels like I'm showing off, and I don't want it to feel like I'm showing off at all. I just want to share like what I'm doing, and maybe that, I don't know, maybe even that sounds bad because it's not like my house is like the most amazing thing that has ever happened. Like, I think it's gorgeous and I'm so happy with it. But yeah, so I think that's kind of why I felt a bit bad. And I had a comment on a video a little while ago saying that like what I had in life made them feel really bad, and that felt awful. Like, I didn't stop thinking about that for like the whole week, and I never want anyone to feel that that's what I'm doing. And I think I felt a bit awkward about doing that, because I know I'm really lucky to have the things I have and be able to spend the time doing the things I do. And yeah, so that's kind of my caveat, I guess, but I'm really happy to see that's up there because that's where a lot of the pride is coming from in my life at the minute. We're doing a lot of really hard work and we've done pretty much everything ourselves that we have the skills to do. The only two things we've had are the floors restored professionally and plastering, because neither one of those two things I know how to do, but pretty much everything else we've been doing like just hard graft and time, and I'm just proud of how it's kind of coming together. So I'm definitely up for sharing some of that. And then the next video is favourites videos, and I put in brackets behind that monthly or seasonal. I think seasonal works better for me. Sometimes I feel like when I'm choosing favourites in a month, I can kind of feel like it leans towards what I've bought rather than what I've done or what I've achieved, and I'm trying just overall as a human to buy less stuff, with kind of an exception of books. So I really haven't bought that many books recently either. And so I don't, that sits a little bit weird for me, the idea that monthly I'm like, here, I bought this new thing, and encouraging you to go and buy this new thing. But seasonal sounds really good to me because my life is much more about like my achievements and what we've done than it is about what I have. And I think seasonal would give me like a really good chance to get that across. So I might do one at the end of autumn, which I class as the end of October, so probably in November, and then, is that how I class it? Or do I class it with November in? No, I'm going to class it with November in as well, so I'll do it beginning of December would be my autumn favourites, or my like seasonal favourites, but I definitely think that I can do that. And then equally people wanted countryside videos, like walks or just like general plodding around in a nice place of the world, and going green videos, so talking about what I'm doing. And I know I'm kind of weaving that into a lot of what I'm filming about or what I'm talking about at the minute. I do think it'd be cool to do a couple more videos around like what we're buying in terms of like food and what we're doing in terms of like household stuff to try and be as good as we can. So yeah, I'm so up for doing both of those. And then study videos came in sort of close to last with 17%, which again I kind of get because I don't know what they'd look like yet, but I thought that could be nice to share sometimes, so I might do those less often. And then only a few people said that they didn't want to see any non-bookish content at all, and I do get that. I think I will make some, but I think if you're not into it, I get that, and just feel free, click on the bookish content only. Okay, I know I'm chatting a bit about everything on here, so the next one is the videos people want to see me film. So I'll go through like the higher scoring ones. I'll probably go through those, yeah, I'll go through the top ones of those. But the thing I wanted to say, because people are giving me so many lovely comments and responses, I haven't yet, just because there's literally like more than 200 to go through, but I'm going to pull the individual video ideas into a spreadsheet, and then I'm going to go through that by myself at some point and decide which ones of those I really like the sound of and what ones of those I think would be fun for me to film, and then I can use that as like a rolling idea bank for when I think, oh, I'm not really sure what to film this weekend and I feel a little bit uninspired. So that's fantastic, I just haven't done it yet. But what I tried to do was to put things into categories, because most of the comments were just like paragraphs or like that kind of reply, so I've tried to put them down into categories. So vlogs were the ones that people wanted to see the most. 25% of people wanted more vlogs. I do film vlogs and put them on Patreon, and I know that's not accessible to everyone, so I will try and do both. I think I want to chat just really quickly about Patreon and why I do it. In terms of like cost of Booktube, in terms of like book buying time filming, editing software, cameras, lighting, all of that, versus what you get out of YouTube. It's pretty poor. I probably get back £15–20 a month, I would say, which isn't a lot from YouTube. And Patreon is a much higher like content and retained like cost back for me, and I kind of try to use Patreon as a bit of a way of balancing out what I'm spending, if I'm honest. I do really like Patreon as a way to also like just give back to people who want to do that. I know that when I've made videos that are more involved, like my spreadsheet videos, which do probably take like a week to make the spreadsheet, people quite often want to be able to say, how can I give back for this? And I've had people sign up to my Patreon just like for a one-off, just to say, just supporting you with this donation, I'm going to be going after the next one. And I think that's lovely. So there's kind of like two elements for that. So I'm not going to stop doing Patreon, but I'll see if I can't get some vlogs here as well as on there. Hopefully I'll have the time to do that. And then the next thing people wanted to see was more stuff about like my personal life. So that was 9% of people wanted to see that. And I kind of get that, but I also, sometimes I feel like that wouldn't be very interesting. Like the things that I'm doing in my personal life are fixing my house, studying, looking after my cat, going to work, spending time with Tom, and that's about it. Like that's kind of most of what I do. I'm not someone who goes out a lot. I don't have any people that I would like go out with as friends. That just isn't the way my life is structured, and I think I worry it would be dull. So I guess the only way I could feel like I could do this and it wouldn't just make people feel like I'm sadder than I am, would be just to weave stuff in when I'm talking in videos. I did actually have two people, it's low down so I'm not going to say it in the other one, but two people say their least favourite thing was how sad I am about in terms of the channel, and I found that like, I was like, oh no, like I appear really sad. I'm really not sad. I have been really sad. I've been really sad when I've been unwell, but I'm doing incredibly now, and I feel so much more comfortable in myself and so much happier and so much more like up for life. And I think my life isn't necessarily like the kind of life that you might see portrayed as like the ideal, jetting off everywhere, seeing friends every weekend. That like social side of things has never really been a huge thing for me. It just hasn't, even when I was like a little girl. But that doesn't mean I'm not happy with what I have. I'm so happy with what I have. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit around like personal, what I can and can't share in terms of that I feel comfortable with. People wanted to see more of the cat, who's, I don't know if you can see her. Can you see her? She's asleep. Hi baby. Yeah, although other people have also been commenting on my videos saying how annoying she is. So I'm a little bit torn because like I get that when she's loud she is annoying. She goes on heat and that makes her vocal. So we'll see, maybe when she's calm and sleeping we can have more cat. And then people wanted genre/type recommendations, spoken a bit about that in the favourites, like the most favourite thing about the channel, most favourite bookish video. I definitely am up for that. And then next was non-fiction, backlist books and deep dives. So those are the next kind of three things people wanted to see. So I think that's really interesting as well, and a lot of the video ideas I had were related to those. So they'll be in my bank, I'll keep an eye on them. And I've been thinking a lot in my own head about backlist books and reading by author. I think when I'm less into reading, like into books as a thing, not necessarily just like reading, I kind of read all the time, but like reading in terms of knowing who said what all the literary dramas are, and watching all my Booktube video backlist, and like going on Twitter and talking about books a lot, going on Instagram posting about books a lot. When I'm not in that headspace that quite a lot of my free time is around books, even if it's not around reading, I do tend to go for stuff that I've kind of heard a little bit about and pick it up, or stuff that I just kind of fancy. And I think that tends towards me going to newer books rather than older books, because sometimes I feel a little bit like I'll be a bit of a knob if I go and buy a book and I'm like, this sounds amazing and I think it's going to be fantastic, and then I'll like bring it home and go to put it on Goodreads and it'll have like 1.2 out of 5 stars and I'll be like, oh, it's rubbish, I just didn't know that. And sometimes with like the newer books or the like new medium books, like in the last 10 years, 5 years, I kind of feel like I know something about them and I'm not about to be like duped myself with a dud when I go into a bookshop and buy a book. So yeah, that's probably explains that a little bit, but I've been thinking about it a lot. Okay, and the next question was, what is your most favourite thing about the channel? And 36% of people said it was my personality, which is very sweet of you. Yeah, that again, like, kind of strikes me as a bit strange because I don't necessarily think I'm that likeable. Like, I don't think I'm that charismatic or funny or whatever. I think I'm very quiet, and I think the next one down was calm, and I think that's probably more like my aesthetic. So I found that interesting. And yeah, calm. So many people use the word calming or calm about my videos, and I've had that for quite a long time, and I really like that because I'm not always calm in here, but it's nice to know that my presence is quite calm. And I think about that in terms of my work as well, that I think calm is something I'd aspire to, so that was, yeah, really interesting. And similarly, that my videos make people feel relaxed came up. 6% of people said that my videos make them feel really relaxed. And then 19% of people said that their favourite thing was the different books that I read. So either that it was different from other people reviewing books, or that it was different to the kind of books they knew about, and it let them pick up different books to what they normally would, which I thought was going to be the highest. I would have thought that would be more of the differentiator, but that's really interesting. And then the way I review books was 11% of people said that was their favourite thing, so how I'm talking about books in general. 3% of people said it was the discussions, which is interesting again, that comes up so much. And then another 3% of people said it was that I'm English, that they come from other countries. A lot more Americans, I think, replied with this than anything else. And just that it's interesting to learn about another culture, sort of obliquely, I suppose, through the medium of reading. And then the last question was, what was your least favourite thing about the channel? And fewer people answered this than anything else. Loads of people just left a blank space. And of those who did answer, nearly 50%, 49%, said they didn't have a thing that wasn't their favourite, which was really cute. I thought when I made this, I was a little bit worried I'd open myself up to some nastier comments. But even when people had like genuine things they didn't like, they're really, really, really lovely about it. And yeah, that was just really nice. I was a bit worried about putting that last question in, but I wanted to know what pees people off as well as what you like. And the second one that people said was lack of videos, or like the scheduling of my videos. I so get that. I tried for such a long time, probably up until we moved, or just before up until we moved. I put out 1 or 2 videos a week, every single week, on the same day. I did that for 4 years. And I get that that's really important in terms of viewership and like reliable content. That's just become harder more recently, and lots of people, when they wrote that comment, had said, I totally get that this is harder, but that is my least favourite thing. And again, that's not a bad thing to have as a comment. It's like, I'd like to see you more, or more regularly. So that was I got that, and it was nice to kind of hear that back. I do get it, and we will go back to that point at some stage. It's just not likely to be immediate. That's one of the things on this I don't think I can have control over just at the moment. And then 8% of people said they don't like book hauls. So the same way that book hauls came quite low, 8% of people actually said I don't like book hauls, which is so contrary to my inner vision of what Booktube viewers like. That I just found that really interesting. I mean, I guess the thing that's kind of slightly silly about it is that when I watch Booktube, I'm way more interested in long wrap-up videos than probably anything else. And just interesting stuff that people I know do, because they're my friends as well. But the kind of like long form, lots of books, what did you think, someone I trust, is what I like. But in my head there's still this thing about like book hauls reign supreme. And then the next one was sound quality. I know. This is probably one of the things that I get most in terms of comments on my videos that are like, there's nothing other than just this, if that makes sense. I don't know what is up with my sound quality. I don't know whether it is my mic, the way my camera interprets my mic, the way my editing software interprets the footage from my camera. It always has a really low, buzzy, staticky emptiness to the audio. I've tried 2 different mics in doing it, which makes me think it might be my editing program, because I've had 2 cameras doing it as well. And unfortunately editing programs are just like super duper expensive, and it's not something I can change at the moment. And it's also kind of like, if I change it, what happens if it doesn't get better? I do have a really good mic. So I did buy a really good mic probably a year ago, because I was getting this much more often in my comments, but the problem is it needs power, a computer and my camera, and sometimes it's just quite a lot to set up for the jump in audio quality. When I'm making videos that are more audio based, so stuff like my spreadsheets video, I will use my better mic so that you can hear me really clearly, because my voice is all you've got there. You can't use my lips or anything else, so I do try and use it. It's just a bit much to set up every time I film. And then the last thing was dissimilar tastes. So as I said, I'm not going to go through all of them, but dissimilar tastes, again, I totally get that. I watch a lot of booktubers who I would not buy, like, I'd probably buy like 10% of the books that they recommend, or think about buying 10%, and the rest of it I'm like, I don't really, like, I wouldn't read that, but I like watching your videos, so I completely get that too. But I just thought that this whole exercise was really good fun, and I feel like I learnt a lot, and it's made me feel really positive about filming videos again. And this video has been long as hell. I think this is like half an hour of raw footage, and I haven't made that many breaks either. But yeah, so hopefully this was interesting for you guys too, and this wasn't just an exercise of me talking at the camera, but I'm just really looking forward to filming some more, and it's made me feel so much more positive than I did before I made it, and I should have made the video sooner. And I just feel like I know what it is that people are after, and I did have, this is the last thing before I say goodbye, or else my mouth will dry up completely and the camera battery will die. But there were quite a lot of people who went onto the spreadsheet to just say, just do what you want to do. People who commented and said, I'm not going to fill it out because I just want you to do what you want to do. And I totally, like, there's a lot of love for people who are just like, don't stress, just get on with it. I think you're so kind. But I think I was having a bit of like a little panic in my head about whether or not I wanted to keep going, or people wanted me to keep going. And I think that's come through in some of the videos I've been making, that I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I'm doing this right anymore, if anyone cares. And I think doing this has just made me feel so much more positive and more engaged, and like I just want to film all the time. Like today I have so many things on my list of things I wanted to do, one of which is going and spending loads of money on books. And I was talking to Tom yesterday and saying like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to fit all the things in tomorrow that I need to fit in tomorrow. And I said, but I really want to film, that's like my top thing that I want to do. And that hasn't necessarily been the case for other weeks. I'll go, well, I've got to do this to the garden, and I've got to do this study, and I've got to go into town, I need to buy some more work trousers, and filming comes lower down. And it was just really nice for me to feel like, no, that's my top priority tomorrow, that's what I want to get done. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking now before I collapse of dehydration. And I'll see you guys again soon in another video. Look after yourselves until then. Bye.